The Chase is a serial killer thriller Korean film about a curmudgeonly old landlord. And it's from North Korea, and he managed to buy a lot of properties, so he owns a lot of cheap housing rentals, and he just spends a lot of his time going around to these different buildings bothering people for rent. So one guy is supposed to pay the rent and doesn't have it, so he harasses him in front of his family. However, the next day they find that man has killed himself by hanging. And it seems a little weird at first, but everyone obviously turns on this landlord guy. And he's not a very nice guy either. He's got a crush on this woman who owns a toast store, and he's a very cynical, misanthropic man. However, the dead man's partner, a police officer, no longer a police officer, now is a private detective, shows up and says that the suicide is definitely not real. The same thing happened 30 years ago. A serial killer ramped up his attacks on older men who lived alone as practice, and then went after young women. So the private detective friend thinks that women will be next, so they team up to try to stop, this killer from going after women next, and also to, clear his own name too, because everyone thinks, he's some sort of bully that, harassed this man to kill himself. So The Chase is a really simple movie, and I really liked the change of protagonist. Our main characters are an older private detective ex-cop and a curmudgeonly old landlord. That's not your usual action thriller protagonist. Your usual protagonist is like a cop or detective or some sort of person with resources. It's interesting to see a older person who can't run, and things like that. And the movie definitely takes you for a loop with a lot of different twists and turns. It's a very dark movie, and content-wise, but it's also got a lot of themes about the disenfranchised and things like that. And the ending is definitely on the more trying to extend the thrill kind of thing, but overall The Chase is a really strong movie due to its characterization, its twists, and it's definitely a nice simple thriller offering that's a little bit different from others. So I give The Chase a 7 out of 10.